Before we start animating, we'll want to prepare the timeline and our animation settings before we begin. I've scrolled up a quick animation just to show you what's going on. Go down to the right hand corner and click on play, and then you can see in the camera 1 viewport my animation is playing. It's looping back and forth, and this little bar is scrolling around the bottom of the timeline and showing me what frame it's on. So it's looping it, and I'm just going to pause it wherever, and then I can roll it back to 0 or click on go to start. The play and forward buttons are down here on the right. On the left a little bit, this big key and auto and set key modes are down there. We'll get into more a little bit later, but just the timeline first. We'll click on time configuration under the go to end arrows. A little dialog box pops up, and this does anything you'll need to set the time or how long your animation is going to be. Frame rate is NTSC, is basic 30 frames a second, which is, a lot of movies are about 30 frames. So that's fine, I can leave it at that, but you can also do custom or these other ones if you'd like. After you decide on the frame rate, you can go over to time display. Maybe frames isn't the most comfortable for you to work in. You don't want to calculate it out. You can go to Smpte, which is a kind of cinematographic frame time. It has minutes, seconds, and then frames. So this one's a little bit easier to work in, I find. Or you can do frames and ticks, minutes, seconds, ticks as well. But Smpte, we have already animated those 100 frames, and so it says the length is 3 seconds and 10 frames. I'm just going to go in there and call it 5 seconds and 0 frames even. And then when I do that, it adjusts that in the timeline down here. So the timeline doesn't get physically larger, but it just jams more frames into it to where it ends at 5 seconds. And my time display has changed as well. So say OK, and everything should be good to go. I can play my animation again, and then this time you can see the keyframe hasn't changed actual times. It's still stopping at 3 seconds and 10 frames, which is 100 frames in total. And then that means there's no keyframes until the end of the movie. So feel free to edit the length of your timeline even after you've already keyframed a little bit, because it's not going to change the amount of time. If you want to do that, like make my animation twice as long, you can go back and do time configuration and do rescale time. There's a few other kind of handy options in here. Playback in real time, of course. I've never messed with that, but you can do quarter speed, half speed, whatever you'd like if you have a longer animation. Active viewport only is a good idea if you just want to preview in one. To save kind of on just the amount of push that your computer has to go through, this is a good one to keep. But if you have a very complex scene with lots of things going on, you can uncheck this box and watch exactly what's going on in all 4 viewports. And then loop on the very end. I just turn loop off because it's kind of annoying when it just repeats over and over. So say OK, and then there you have it. That's preparing your timeline for animating.